What's up, Steelers Nation? Let's kick things off by reminding ourselves what this franchise is all about. Growth, grit, and greatness. The Steelers are working harder than ever to improve this roster, fine-tune this coaching staff, and bring winning football back to Pittsburgh. But you already know, championship teams are built on tough decisions, especially at quarterback and wide receiver. And right now, we've got major developments on both fronts. Two names dominating the headlines: Kirk Cousins and George Pickens. Today we're breaking down what an insider just revealed about the Steelers potentially swooping in to land Cousins, and how the front office is now trending toward a surprising contract extension for Pickens. Before we dive in, do us a favor. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a breaking story from the Steel City. All right, let's get into it. You may think Aaron Rodgers is the only big-name QB linked to Pittsburgh, but according to ESPN insider Adam Schefter, Kirk Cousins is officially in the mix, and not just as a wild rumor. We're talking real conversations behind the scenes with both the Minnesota Vikings and the Pittsburgh Steelers about a potential trade for the current Atlanta Falcons backup. Yeah, that's right. Cousins is no longer the starter in Atlanta. He lost his job to rookie Michael Penix Jr., and there's growing belief that his time with the Falcons is over. Here's the kicker. Atlanta is reportedly asking any team to absorb $20 million of the $45 million guaranteed left on his contract. So far, no one's bitten. But that could all change after the NFL draft, depending on who walks away with a rookie quarterback and who doesn't. According to Schefter, if a team like the Steelers misses out on Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart, they may suddenly be willing to eat $10 million of that deal to bring Cousins to the Steel City. Now, you might be asking, why would Pittsburgh even consider Cousins? Well, here's the situation. Aaron Rodgers still hasn't signed. He's openly talking about retirement on the Pat McAfee show. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh's quarterback room is made up of a one-year rental in Russell Wilson, a reclamation project, in Justin Fields, and some day-one backups like Mason Rudolph. Kirk Cousins, for all the criticism he gets, is a veteran who knows how to move the chains. From 2022 up until he tore his Achilles in 2023, he played some of the best football of his career under Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota. Now, if J.J. McCarthy, Minnesota's 2024 first-round pick, isn't ready to go, the Vikings could try to bring Cousins back. But word is, Cousins doesn't want to land with any team drafting a QB in the first round. That's where Pittsburgh could come in. If they don't draft a QB coach, Tomlin could potentially pitch Cousins on being the starter through at least part of 2025, while a developmental QB like Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe sits and learns behind him. Now let's talk money and draft picks. Schefter made it clear, the higher the payment, the lower the draft compensation. The lower the payment, the higher the draft compensation. Translation: if the Steelers agree to pay more of Cousins' contract, they won't have to give up as much draft capital. The Falcons know Cousins doesn't fit their long-term plans. Cousins knows it too. And Pittsburgh, they're watching this play out like a chess match, especially as Aaron Rodgers drags his feet. If the Steelers make a move for Cousins, it could be a strong signal that Rodgers is no longer part of the plan in Pittsburgh. All right, let's shift gears to the other big story that's flying under the radar: George Pickens. Steelers insider Brooke Pryor just dropped a bombshell on 93.7 The Fan. Despite all the trade speculation, she believes the Steelers are now trending toward giving Pickens a contract extension before the 2025 season even starts. That's huge. Pickens is entering the final year of his rookie deal, and with $30 million per year already going to DK Metcalf, a lot of fans assumed the team couldn't afford both. But the truth is, in today's offense, first AFC North, keeping too high level, receivers might be exactly what Pittsburgh needs to compete. Imagine this lineup: Pickens and Metcalf on the outside, Pat Freiermuth attacking the middle. Roman Wilson or Calvin Austin III in the slot, that's a mismatch nightmare, if the quarterback situation gets sorted out. Now, let's be fair. Pickens has had his moments. some frustration on the sidelines, some questionable effort at times. But let's not ignore the facts. He's been productive despite a broken offensive system. He's flashed elite playmaking ability. And when he's locked in, he's a top 10 talent at the position. Letting him walk would create a serious hole. One Pittsburgh could fill in the draft or free agency, sure, but it would also come at a cost. An extension signals that the Steelers believe in his long-term potential and want to build an offense around him. So here's where things stand. The Steelers are exploring Kirk Cousins as a veteran fallback plan if the Aaron Rodgers saga drags on too long. Cousins has a no-trade clause, but Pittsburgh might be able to sell him on a starting role, stability, and one last run. Meanwhile, George Pickens is trending toward a surprise contract extension, which would lock in a dynamic receiver duo for the long haul. But it all comes down to this draft. If Pittsburgh grabs a quarterback early, Cousins is likely off the table. If they go defense or O-line, the door might swing wide open. Now listen, there's been a ton of speculation swirling around the Steelers' first-round plans, especially with the 21st overall pick. We've heard the names Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, even whispers of Jalen Milroe. But according to longtime Steelers insider Jerry Dulac, quarterback might not be in the cards. Not in round one. Dulac recently joined Randy Baumann and the DVE Morning Show, and what he said gives us a rare peek behind the curtain in Pittsburgh. While fans have debated who should be under center in the future, Dulac laid out what he believes is the actual pecking order the team is using when they're on the clock Thursday night. Let me break it down for you. According to Dulac, here's how the Steelers are ranking their needs in round one: defensive line, running back, wide receiver, cornerback, quarterback. That's right. QB is fifth on that list. Now sure, things can always change if a top prospect falls into their lap, but this clearly tells us where Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan believe the biggest holes are right now. So let's talk about that top priority: defensive line. This move makes a lot of sense. Cam Hayward is nearing the end of a legendary career. Larry Ogunjobi has been solid but not dominant, and the Steelers haven't truly hit on a young D-line stud in years. Names to watch? Keep an eye on Derek Harmon and Walter Nolan. These two have been buzzing around the team's draft board and would give Pittsburgh a big-bodied, explosive presence in the trenches, something they've been missing. Dulac even emphasized that if one of those guys is on the board at 21, the Steelers are very likely to pull the trigger, even with bigger-name quarterbacks still available. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Second on that list, running back. That raised a lot of eyebrows, especially considering the Steelers already have Jaylen Warren, and they haven't closed the book completely on Najee Harris just yet. But dig deeper and it makes some sense. The Steelers want a bruising, downhill runner who can wear down defenses late in the year. And if Najee walks after 2025, they'll need someone to step in immediately. Depending on how things shake out, we could see a surprise like Quinshon Judkins or Treveon Henderson in round one if their defensive line targets are off the board. It wouldn't be a sexy pick, but it would be very Steelers. Don't count out wide receiver either, especially with the George Pickens situation still in limbo. Now, we recently reported that talks are heating up between Pickens' camp and the Steelers on a possible early extension. But with DK Metcalf already on the books at $30 million per year, can they really afford to lock up two top-tier wideouts? If Pickens is traded on draft night, and yes, that is still a real possibility, don't be shocked if Pittsburgh moves quickly to replace him with a younger option like Xavier Worthy or Rome Odunze if he slides. It's a just-in-case scenario, but one the team seems to be prepared for. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: quarterback. All eyes are on Aaron Rodgers, who is still weighing offers and is expected to make a final decision by the end of April. All signs point to Pittsburgh being the front-runner to land him and possibly already having a deal quietly in place. With that in mind, Dulac says the team is far more likely to take their quarterback of the future in 2026, when the draft will be held in Pittsburgh for the first time in history. And let's be real, that class is stacked compared to this year. So unless Shadir Sanders or Jackson Dart absolutely blows them away, it's looking more and more like they'll punt on quarterback this time and circle back next year. But again, if their top D linemen and backs are gone at 21 and Sanders is somehow still on the board, that might be too tempting to pass up. All right, Steelers Nation, it's your turn. Would you trade for Kirk Cousins if Rodgers keeps stalling? Should the Steelers give George Pickens a huge extension or trade him while his value is high? And what do you think Pittsburgh's top priority should be on draft night? Let us know in the comments. We're reading every take. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an exclusive update from Steelers Nation HQ. Big week ahead. Big decisions coming. Let's ride. Go Steelers.